All right, welcome inside the FlamesTV Live Podcast. Pleased to be joined by the General Manager of the Calgary Flames, Craig Conroy, and we're fresh after today's deadline and a couple of things going on today. Let's just start with that because obviously a lot of phone calls being made today, a lot of news and transactions around the league. But start with your business thing. It comes after the deadline in terms of when it finally got through the trade call. But Nikita Ohocek comes from San Jose in the exchange for a fifth-round pick. Let's start with him and just sort of how that evolved today.
You know, I think we've been going down talking about adding some depth on defense, and you know, as you make calls and you see who's out there and available and the prices and who you want. When we finally got to Nikita and we were talking with San Jose, it was a guy that our scouts really liked. I mean, when he was out in New Jersey, our scouts knew him, and then and kind of moving over to San Jose, and it was unanimous. This was a guy that if we had an opportunity to get, we should try,
Right.
and we did, and you know, luckily we were able to get him.
Well, and it's, you know, kind of a guy that obviously has gone through the AHL a little bit, spent some time, I think over 100 games down there, but maybe his first real opportunity to play, you know, a big chunk of hockey in the NHL. I think 43 games this year. I mean, what about, you know, seeing that kind of evolution and maybe an opportunity coming in here now to build on that?
Well, that's one of the things we've always been talking about. You know, you don't know what a player is until you give a player a chance to show. And that's all players want. They want a chance, an opportunity to say, I am an NHL player. So I do think with the situation we're at, you know, losing a couple defensemen, it's a great opportunity for these young guys and maybe guys that haven't gotten a chance to play in the NHL to show us what they do. I mean, this is what you, as a player, this is what you strive for, is an opportunity.
And a guy obviously that has some upside there that, you know, maybe there's some ceiling, that 23 years of age, still pretty young, and as you said, something that the scouts saw in him in terms of his abilities on the back end.
You know, we've always been talking with the scouts. We want to get a little younger, identify people early before, I mean, because once they get to the NHL, they're very hard to get out of. So, you know, you identify players that you want, and you know, for me, when I go around the room and all the scouts are unanimous that we'd like an opportunity to get this guy, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be some time, and there's always, you know, everybody just wants the complete player, but that's how you find these guys. You come up, give them a chance, and let them play. And I'm looking forward to seeing them in a Flames uniform.
Away from trade talk now for a moment, but Kevin Rooney, he's been one of the nice stories here in terms of coming back from the injury, working so hard to get back into the lineup, and has been a real nice fit playing in the center position since he's been back. You know, what about being able to find an opportunity to extend him today?
You know, it was nice. I mean, Kevin's been you know, to watch him kind of rehab all year, to go down last year in the minors, and the way he kind of worked with our young guys to come up to what he's done. I mean, whether it's on the power play or a penalty kill, in his role in that fourth line, he's done a great job for us. And you just thought, if we could get him signed, we'd love to. And we were able to agree to terms today. And you know that it's a good feeling. It's good to have him back. And I know the team's going to be excited that he signed also. Yeah,
great news there. Maybe if we can just look at sort of the work here. I know it hasn't necessarily been overly busy today, but you've been a busy man leading up to the deadline. Can you just try to describe sort of what the last few weeks have been like here and trying to, you know, manage some of those pending UFA contracts and just what you've been able to get back in return, and just sort of summarize, you know, the business over the last few weeks here?
You know, I mean, it seems like the last few weeks, but it's really been right from the summer,
fair enough,
right from the draft all the way through, starting with the Foley trade and kind of ending today with Nikita's trade. You know, it's been a long year. I mean, and it's tough because you're seeing a lot of players and people that you really like go, and you know, we know that's part of the business. That's what this is all about. You know, there's rules and there's things, and you have UFAs, and you know, whether you try to sign them, you have a price, they have a price, and in the end, you're doing what's best for the organization. And so it's been a long year, and you know, I think over the last month, it's really ramped up, and it's been even more. So you have all those conversations for long periods of time, and you know, you're looking to get the best deals you can for your players. And then, you know, the one thing I said when I think took the job was I just didn't want to lose players without getting assets back. So to be able to move players and get assets back, that was really key for me and the whole group. I mean, as a group, we sit down all the time and what can we do? How do we get better? And how do we move this thing forward? So we felt like, you know, we just couldn't let guys walk at the end of the year. If we couldn't get them re-signed, we had to move on.
Well, and then starting with Sharon Govich, obviously up to 25 goals now, and then you kind of look at some of these other younger pieces. I mean, is there some excitement about what that could turn into? And I know there's now it kind of goes to some of the amateur side and looking at some of those first and second round picks you were able to acquire too. But maybe a level of excitement at some point moving forward here too about what those could be as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you make trades and you trade out really good players and you get picks, there's no names with those picks.
Sure.
They're not yet, but give us some time. And, that's what we're going to do. I mean, we're dialed in, talking to the amateur scouts. We know this next 3 years is going to be a huge time for this organization moving forward. And we're going to dial in just like we do every year. But, now they kind of know what picks they have moving forward. And, you just want to make sure when you go in there, you're prepared and you get the best players.
Well, and not to be lost on all this is how well the team's playing right now. 6 of the last 7 and a huge win in Tampa Bay last night. What's impressed you the most about just the way that this team has continued to go about it and it really just, the work they're putting in every single night to get results right now?
I give these guys so much credit. I mean, I know it's hard. It's all the outside noise, everything that's going on. It hasn't really been fair to the guys. So for me, what today brings is closure to all that.
Yeah,
they can just go and play. But the way they've stuck together and rose to the occasion as we lost players, very impressive. That leadership group, the coaching staff, all the players, the young guys. I mean, it's never easy. I've sat in those rooms. I've been there when you have players coming in, players going out. I've been traded myself. So, I know what it's like. And, I would love for it not to be that way. You'd love to just go, and when it happens, it happens. But, that's just not the way of the world anymore. So to have them kind of step up and play as well as they have, it's impressive. And, I expect nothing less from this group.
Well, and I'll let you go, and I promise I know you've done a lot, but just when you talked about the leadership group there and to see, I just wonder how much it reflects on Husk, on the coaching staff, and Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman's and those guys in that locker room about what they've been able to do this year.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, you look, obviously starts coaching staff, but with Backlund, your captain.
Yeah.
And then you go through the list. I mean, it's Weegar, it's Anderson, it's Kadri. It's, it's not one person. They do it as a team down there. And that's what it's going to take because, when you look at what Huberdeau has done, bring in other guys with Sharon Govich, it's not easy to do what they're doing. I feel for them and, I wish I could have stopped it all, but I just couldn't. I mean, it's like I said, it's the way it works now. Yeah. And, but to see Blake Coleman come out and say what he says a lot of nights, I listen to what the guys say, and, I hear him loud and clear. And I just am so happy that it's over, and now we can move forward here down the stretch.
Well said. Thanks for the time, and congratulations on moving past this phase, and look forward to seeing the games upcoming this weekend.
Thanks for having me.